This is the Local Real Estate Developer Podcast, where we share the stories of locals across the country who took that empty lot or that old building and turned it into something awesome that their community needs. I'm Kristi Kandel, and I've been a real estate developer my entire career. My co-host Raphael is a commercial broker, and together we're sharing the stories of locals making a huge impact on their communities. And what we've learned is you don't need millions in the bank or decades of experience to get started. You just need the confidence, tools, and the right people around you. This podcast is your chance to gain the confidence to get in the game, because real estate development isn't just for the insiders anymore. It's for people like you too.
Welcome to the Local Real Estate Developer Podcast. I'm your co-host, Raphael Collazo. I am a commercial broker, investor, and developer located here in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm here with my co-host, Kristi Kandel, real estate developer extraordinaire, currently located in Florida. It's great to see you as always.
Hey, yeah, great to see you. Yep, I'm a real estate developer, investor, and teach locals how to become developers in their community. And, that's all what ended up starting this podcast, where we can come together and just share stories of people doing cool deals. I mean, I remember hearing you on a podcast with Bo Barron and Commercially Speaking, and just going, oh, that guy has a really cool story and background. Like, we need to talk. And that turned into Local Real Estate Developers Pod, which it is today.
Yeah, no, and I commend you for just thinking about the idea of trying to inspire developers around the country to take on local projects in their own area, because it's definitely a need that needed to be filled. And when you reached out to me about potentially collaborating on something, I was thrilled about it, because myself, as you mentioned, I've been in the commercial brokerage space since 2019, and only really recently, within the last 2 years, started taking on real estate development projects. So I was kind of the target market for what ultimately became the Local Real Estate Developer Podcast. So obviously it's been an honor so far to do the podcast with you. And I know we hit a milestone recently I think we eclipsed 50 episodes just recently. And I think now we would have eclipsed 52, which means we've been doing this for over a year now, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing and crazy to think about. And I say this all the time, but I truly mean it. Like, this is my favorite hour of the week, where we get to sit down, and whether we're talking or we have a guest on, and we're sharing their stories, because it's not that we're having a podcast and interviewing someone, it's that they've transformed their life, their family's life, their community. And it's just an amazing story to hear and go, okay. And I always walk away from it inspired.
Yeah, same. It really is. And you gain so many insights from people just by hearing their story. And I can't tell you how many times we've been talking to someone, and then something they share kind of triggers an idea in my head. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Maybe I can incorporate that into the projects that we're doing here locally. So it's been a really cool experience for me. And I know it's as well as you, to just be able to build that network with these people over time. And obviously we truly appreciate all the people that have reached out as far as the audience members. I think it kind of goes to the next thing, which we wanted to talk about, was with the meetup that we're going to be coordinating here in late August. So if you kind of share a little bit of insight as to kind of how that formulated, because it was a very organic thing.
Yeah, from the beginning, it was, how do we create something that, because as developers, we feel isolated in our own communities, and it's like, who else is doing this? And there might be one other person, maybe two other people, but sometimes it's looked at as competition. And it's like, no, how do we create the bigger pockets, but of local real estate development, to where if you are trying to do development and you want to have people around you who understand it, where do you go? So that's where it just kind of naturally came from the pod, and meeting all of these people, and they all said the same thing. They're all just like, where's our people? Where's our community? Like, we want this, because we do feel like we're swimming alone in the ocean. Even though our cities are all different, we're all, as we've heard on the pod, we're all going through similar challenges and obstacles. And it's really cool to be able to brainstorm and go, oh, that's how you guys overcame that there? Great. I'm going to ask some questions over here and see if that applies.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. And I think that idea was further cemented throughout us doing this podcast, because through us interacting with all these individuals that are taking on these cool projects around the country, we had a common vein of questioning regarding, how do we continue to build this network of people? And we got several of our guests inquiring about wanting to coordinate something where not only the guests of the podcast can get together, but those who are listening and engaging with the podcast can have an opportunity to build that network. And the hope is that over time, this becomes a larger community of members that are taking on unique and interesting projects in their own local market, and it becomes a forum where people can engage with each other and share ideas and potentially share relationships and contacts and all the things that come along with building a robust network. And obviously,
Totally.
since and I think through the podcast, and then you came and visited here in Louisville this last year, and kind of we had an opportunity to just connect for a podcast episode locally, and it took you around to some of the local projects that we're doing here locally and sharing some insights about the Louisville area as a whole. We started brainstorming an idea of potentially doing our inaugural meetup here in Louisville. And if you want to share a little bit about, kind of the thought process behind it, and ultimately some of the finer details of the actual event, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, just sometimes we forget post COVID how much in person and meeting people truly matters and means. And you could meet with someone 50 times on a Zoom, and it's different than that one in person interaction. And it was, one, super cool to meet you for the first time, but two, to go on that tour of your community and to see the projects and the people and the places. And it just reminded me how powerful and impactful that can be, to where it's like, no, we need to have the meetup. And it doesn't matter if 5 people show up or if 75 people show up, because you have to start somewhere. So just understanding the importance of that, and that everyone we've talked to wants to be part of this and to build that network. So yeah, so we were able to solidify and say, hey, August 27th through the 29th, let's plan a couple of days where we get a mixture of things. We're not going to be talking at you. We want to keep the room small enough to where we can have deep, meaningful conversations, to where we can talk about ideas and say, hey, here's how this person or this project went, but then do breakouts and really kind of dive a little bit deeper and think through, how could it apply to our market? How could it apply to our projects we're doing? So I think a combination of having some developers and some locals and city officials and strategic partners, but then also doing site tours and going around. So I think all of that, just, it's the things that we want, that we need in our process, and it's what other people have shared. And so it's exciting to start to put that together. And then having it in your backyard where you're the local expert. I mean, the local real estate developers, let's do it in someone's local backyard, because you have all those connections and stories.
Yeah. And the hope is that with this being the inaugural event, I mean, the hope is that we continue to have these projects in the local markets of people that, are part of the network, right? So in our case, we were operating in Florida. Who's to say that the next event isn't in Fort Myers or some other market that you have a hand in? And same goes for other markets around the country where we have interviewed people and they have interesting stories and insights that could be shared. So, the hope is that this is the start of something much bigger, and the goal is to continue to foster that network. And as you mentioned, we did finally select a date, August 27th to the 29th. It's funny because, obviously talking about it is one thing, but then when you actually put pen to paper and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is the type of not curriculum, but presentations we're going to have. Here's the timeline that we're going to need to achieve. It puts it into reality, and it's kind of a nerve-wracking experience because you don't. I've never really been involved with coordinating an event to this scale. I've obviously been involved in event planning, but not to this degree, and so it's definitely been a challenge. But it's a really exciting one, and one that.
Hey, can we chat for a second? Since you're listening to this podcast, you're already thinking like a developer. You see the potential in your community, and you're ready to do more than just watch from the sidelines. That's exactly why we created the Local Developer Vault. It's a free resource full of tools, templates, and trainings to help you take action. And here's the best part. When you sign up, you'll also get access to our local real estate developer community. It's full of people just like you who are making real things happen in their neighborhoods. So don't just listen to the stories. Become the next one that we spotlight on our show. The link in the show notes to unlock the vault and join our movement.
We know we're going to be able to deliver phenomenal value to you all. I think to start out, I think what we were hoping for is on Thursday to have like a little inaugural event to invite people in and kind of share with them a preliminary panel, and ultimately have an opportunity for people to mingle and build those preliminary relationships, so that the following day on Friday, where you start getting into the meat and potatoes of the information and insights we're going to share, you already have a formal introduction with some of these individuals that are going to be attending. And then as the day progresses and we grab lunch and start going on these different site tours, the site tours are going to be predominantly focused on adaptive reuse projects, just because that's the projects that again, I'm involved in, and there's some other developers locally that do that as well. There's plenty of people at the the meetup as well that will be involved in ground up construction as well. So you can gain some insight from there. But the thought process is to be able to tour you guys around, share really the nuts and bolts and numbers and struggles, and potentially create case studies that you guys can take with you so that it can inspire you to on your own project, or maybe you gain some insights on your own project, and then ultimately have the dinner and the VIP event that evening on Friday, because we want to have a close knit opportunity for people who want to be involved in that VIP event to have access to the attendee, the speakers, and yourself and myself as well. And then finally on Saturday have kind of a wrap up event, and hopefully we can meet at a local development as well, so you can gain some inspiration from that. Yeah, that'll be kind of a brief summary of the event details, and we'll get more refined in the description of all the events as the days progress.
It's meant to be something where it's people who are actively doing deals or are really on the fence and like, oh, I've been hearing all these. If I get around these people, I'm going to be inspired to take action. And really just people who want to help transform your community in a positive way, to take and do something meaningful, and to know that you've got the resources and the people around you that can help get you there. Development is a team sport. It is not an individual sport at all. And so having those people around it, I've really started to understand the power of the events and things that I go to in person. Yeah, the content is great, but it's really about those connections that I make in the actual conference or the meetup, that I go, wow, like there are people that I have been friends with. I just went to a conference in March, and I have been friends with this woman in Connecticut for years. And her husband's almost like, does Kristi really exist? We have never met her in person, this or that. And we finally got to meet in person. He's like, whoa, like, okay, you do exist. You are a force. I get why she likes you. But it's just cool to go, like, we would have never known we existed before had we not both shown up in person to that. And there's been so many collaborations and great conversations from it. So yes, we are going to give you amazing content and people and speakers, but really it's being able to talk to other like-minded people in the room and get inspired and make those connections, make those relationships, and just see where it goes from there.
Yeah, and I think it's you never want to underestimate what one relationship can do for you in your career. Again, I can't tell you how many times that I have interacted with someone at an event that maybe I went to the event just because it was kind of like a throwaway event or something that I didn't really think would be of value, which is not the case for this event. Obviously, we're going to have significant value being shared, but the one relationship that I was able to develop from this one interaction led to more opportunities that I would have never been able to dream of as a result of being in the room with individuals. And so, I think it kind of goes to what Kristi says, is that the goal of this meetup and future meetups is to create that forum, to create that community that fosters that type of building of relationships. Because although we may or may not take on the same type of projects, the ideas that are shared and potentially connections that are built through this medium can potentially help you over your career as a developer. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind as you start planning out your fall, because I think you won't want to miss this particular event.
And the same, like we'll have people from your local city and county and different economic development and planners and architects and engineers and different people who are specific to your market. But that applies everywhere, because how they're looking at it and approaching their city, their community, their partnership with you as a consultant, like that all gets you in a room to where you can ask questions and go, okay, I wasn't really sure how to get this architect and how to vet them and how to understand what they do. And you can literally ask them questions. Like, that is why we're here, so you can get a better grasp and understanding and take that back to your market. And maybe the EDC, the economic development, maybe they say something that is like, oh my goodness, and you can actually take that then back to your community. And because it is a smaller one, maybe you guys help the city adopt that and go, hey, there are other ways and mechanisms that you could do. So there's so many ways that things can happen and unfold. And it's just, I love stuff like this. And I'm very excited to get back when it is not freezing outside and when I'm not sick.
Yeah. And it'll
And
be a great
really
time of
enjoy
year to
this.
come. And for those of you guys who don't know about Louisville, obviously we're known for horse racing and bourbon, but we're much more than that as well. I mean, it's going to be a unique experience for you guys to take in the sights and sounds of a very historic city. We have a phenomenal culinary scene. I have plenty of recommendations for restaurants if you guys, do decide to come, because I'm a big foodie, and that's kind of the area of real estate that I focus in on, is retail. A lot of clients, and also a lot of people that I know that are in the space, and It should be a really, really cool event, and we're really looking forward to hosting you guys in Louisville, Kentucky from August 27th to the 29th. And I don't know if you want to share any additional details or maybe how people can learn more about registering for the event.
Yeah, we've been posting on LinkedIn with some links. We also have, if you go to localrealestatedeveloper.com and you put LRED-Meetup 2026, we'll put that in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
But that just gives the landing page for more details on it. And we have some amazing speakers already, like Katie Neeson and Evan Holiday and Cece, that have totally unique stories and just so much energy and passion in what they're doing and how they're transforming their communities that I just get fired up just thinking about those guys. I love every conversation we have with them. And yeah, so we'll put the link in there. So check it out. But yeah, like you said, we are not event planners. We just understand what's missing and what's needed and what would be beneficial to us on projects, which is then in turn beneficial to everyone else kind of going through it. So yeah, you got to start somewhere, and this is I'm really excited about this and to get everyone in the room and see what happens.
Absolutely. I'm in the same boat, and I'm honored to be able to do it with you. And we're really excited to, again, host you guys in Louisville from August 27th to the 29th. We'll make sure to include the link to the registration in the show notes. So if you guys have any interest in attending, please go ahead into that webpage. Be sure to register and buy your ticket, and we'll look forward to seeing you here shortly. Yeah, thanks, Kristi. It's always great to see you. And again, for those of you guys who are watching this and listening to this, please leave a 5-star review and also a 5-star. Not only a 5-star review, but also a like, because it is important for us to reach as many people as possible. And if you guys know of anyone who's looking to attend the event, please share this link with them. Share some information about the event, because we're looking forward to, again, delivering as much value as we possibly can. So thanks again so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.